The menu, NFL playoffs, obviously. Nick mangled on what the Jets offseason should look like. We'll get with Big Nick coming up at noon, and why it's time to let go of all, and I'm talking to you, all of your PED anger and bias. Plus, I can't wait for that. Plus, Tiki, a little more evidence why the Knicks should trade Randall yesterday. And I heard Boomer and Gio talking about that. So it seems like the station's beginning to get behind what we were saying the other day. And probably time to stop badgering Kyrie about the vaccination. He's not taking it.
No, he's not.
I mean, what else do we need to hear?
He's Kyrie, and he's going to do what Kyrie thinks. But obviously the big story from Monday Night BT was, Peyton and Eli were epic once again. I don't hear... You know what?
I forgot they were on.
Oh, it was great.
And I watched them all year. I forgot I watched the regular broadcast.
Peyton's going to break down this play. I don't hear bleep.
I know he cursed.
That was awesome. But anyways, the game itself was a dismantling of the Arizona Cardinals by the LA Rams. And other than being... I was kind of jealous watching the Rams function. Sean McVay scheming and outplaying with design the Cardinals with these matchups and the play design. It's like, man, why can't I have an offense like that? Defensively, yeah, right. Defensively, they did an unbelievable job of just taking it after the Arizona Cardinals. And Raheem Morris, their defensive coordinator, deserves a lot of credit. It got so bad that at one point, one of my friends on this text chain that I have comes up, he writes to the group, and you know him, Berkowitz. He writes to the group, man, the Giants really messed up with Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh, please don't tell me he was saying this.
Look how he's balling right now. I just wrote back as calmly as I could. I almost wanted to scream at my phone.
It's your buddy.
It's my boy. I can't.
Tell him to go take a hike. You can tell your buddies to take a hike. That's moronic.
But you know me. You know how I said it.
That's true. You don't really write like that.
No, I said, don't let Odell's recent success with the LA Rams.
Don't let his recent success infiltrate your mind and sway your opinion.
Exactly.
Come on, don't let it go back to bed.
I'll see how exactly what I wrote.
You are such a nerd, and I love it.
But it's my passive-aggressive way of saying, shut the hell up, Berkowitz. I don't want to hear you screaming about Odell Beckham Jr. So I said to him, let me find it.
And for those who don't know, and which pretty much be everybody except you and I, Burke is in the PR game, and he's a superstar.
Yes.
He's repped A-Rod.
Yes.
He rehabbed Alex Rodriguez.
I said revisionist history. He was an oft-injured malcontent when he was with the Giants.
Well, that's an accurate description.
Period. But then I go on to say, you don't have an argument because you're comparing him now to how he was then. And how he didn't want to be in New York. Like, he got traded. Oh, the Gettleman screwed up by trading him. He wanted to be traded. Why? Because Eli was on the downside. Now, he forced his way out of Cleveland. Why? Because Baker Mayfield stinks. Is he going to stick in L.A.? Probably, because Matt Stafford's a pretty damn good quarterback, and Sean McVay has an unbelievable mind to craft offense and let his players excel. Like, you see it with everything. Cam Akers comes back after 6 months on the Achilles. He's balling.
That was amazing.
It's just amazing. The Rams were fun as hell to watch last night.
Yeah, it was. That was good.
And it made you realize what we don't have in New York. But Odell Beckham became the story of our group chat last night.
Yeah, he did. And by the way, just as a general, I guess more of a macro view, and then I want to get into OBJ for a moment. Then I got to get into Kadarius Toney, which rubbed me the wrong way. But it might be time to start at least asking the question, certainly at least one of the two components, possibly both. Do the Cardinals have the wrong head coach and quarterback? Yeah. You look at again, this is Kyler Murray's first year, but 2019, they lose 7 of 9 to finish. They weren't very good. That's why they had the first overall pick the year before.
He was Rookie of the Year, though.
No, he was, no doubt. He was very good, but that's why when they started off very well in 2020, and I know he got hurt as well, they dropped 5 of 7 to finish the season. This year, they lost 4 of 5, including last night, which was highly uncompetitive.
Yep.
So in totality, they've dropped 5 out of 6. That's 3 years with the head coach quarterback duo where they have just crawled to the finish line. Symbolic of what? I don't know, but the Cardinals were a very boring team to watch last night. No, but that's ridiculous. And the crazy thing, too, and Burke is not alone. Like, there are Giant fans who really think the Giants got it wrong. Let me tell you what Odell Beckham Jr. was here. And I do think at his core, he's a really good guy. I've always said that.
He is.
I think he's diligent. I think he's a good person. But when he was here, he was a knucklehead. He was completely immature. He was completely overhyped by the end. And he was more fascinated with being with trending on social media than he was being the star the Giants thought they drafted out of LSU.
That's right.
That's the bottom line. Nobody could fight that.
And then
by the way, Coughlin was culpable.
Of course he was.
Because Coughlin let him run wild.
Of course he was. And in the 2016 season, he goes down to Miami, the famous boat picture. I'm now seeing, like, the Giants post-boat picture, like, things.
What do you mean?
Like
a
stories.
Twitter handle?
No, like stories. Look at the Giants since post-boat picture.
Right? The symbolic line of delineation.
Exactly.
Decent to awful.
Right. To that point, Odell Beckham Jr. was a marvel.
He was.
He was a marvel. 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns his rookie season. And he only played 12 games, right? 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns the next year. He played 15 games. He missed a game. The following year, which was the 16 year I was just alluding to, had 101 receptions, almost 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Is that the year that he peed in the end zone in Philly, or was that maybe the next year when he was banged up on the fire hydrant?
I think that was the next year.
Okay, I think it was too. I think you're right,
I think it was the next year. But then after that, plays 4 games. He's hurt, 12 games, and then he gets traded to the Cleveland Browns. And so, and let's not forget, it was deteriorating. Like, the conversation around Odell Beckham was deteriorating fast in New York. Like, how are we going to handle this guy? Coach can't handle him. There's nobody in the locker room that's handling him.
Nobody's checking him.
Like, what is happening with Odell Beckham Jr.? And then they signed him to the extension, really so they could trade him. They didn't sign him because they had any interest in keeping him long term. They signed him so that they could trade him to someone else, and whoever that trade partner would be, in this case the Cleveland Browns, would not pick up the signing bonus and dead money. The Giants would take the dead money. You take our dead problem. So it's revisionist history to look at what he's doing now in the 3 games or 5 games he's played in Los Angeles with 5 touchdowns, and he scored last night.
Dude, he had 51 yards last night. Let's not make it seem like he had 179 yards like he's Jamar Chase.
He only had 4 targets.
I understand that.
He caught all 4 of them.
I played well.
One-on-one, you just can't defend him when the Cardinals tried to. So he looked good last night.
He did look good.
But don't turn around and tell me that the Giants should have never gotten rid of him.
All we need to remember is the guy literally got down on one knee and proposed to an inanimate object.
That's right.
That's all you need to know.
That's right.
The guy got down on bended knee and asked a kicking net to marry him. What are we talking about here? I mean, what is the conversation all about? Good luck to Odell Beckham, but it had to end with the Giants, Tiki. I think we all know that.
I agree. I'm happy for him, though, that he has now found success.
I don't begrudge him.
He found a place where he can thrive. And look, if the Rams play this way or scheme this way going forward, they have a big challenge next week, obviously, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But if they scheme this way going forward, he could find himself in a championship game or maybe even the Super Bowl.
He could. This bothered me, by the way, 877-337-6666. Anytime there's a situation, and quite frankly, I was not alerted to this until Gio posted something, all right? And I saw it. I mean, I certainly would have stumbled across it eventually, but I did not see it until Giannotti posted this on his account during the show. And I guess there was, well, not I guess, there was and there is a picture of Kadarius Toney who went to the game. And I guess they handed out 80,000 masks or scarves, or which during the pandemic is obviously very smart. But it's got a Rams logo, which is also smart because you would imagine that most of the people there are Rams fans.
That's right.
Which is interesting because the last time I checked, Kadarius Toney's on the Giants. And could be a pretty good player if he doesn't go down the same stupid path or immature path, probably a better way to frame it. That some of the other wide receivers have gone down in this town. Now, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. But anytime something, and I'm the fan, Tiki's the former player, these things generally resonate more with me, okay? We get that. We know the dynamic in this room. Our brains are wired differently. We see the game differently. But if I woke up today and Elijah Moore, I'll take a young Jets receiver, who, by the way, is better than Kadarius Toney, if anybody's asking. and there was a picture of Elijah Moore, we'll say same conference, which the Rams is obviously the same conference with the Giants. We'll say the Browns. And he's rocking a Browns mask. First of all, we're 2 years into a pandemic. How the hell do you go to a stadium without your own mask, number one?
Was it a mask or was it like a gator?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then what he did was his avatar on social media. Now, of course, he takes it a step further, and he's got the Beckham jersey. He's got the cartoon. He's got the Joker chain. I mean, I don't know what it's about, except that he's obviously boys with Odell, or he likes Odell, and I'm fine with that. But you're a New York Giant. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I'm territorial as a fan. It would bother me a little bit. I mean, and if I'm the Giants, it would bother me a little bit, man.
I guess a little bit. We also saw this. This was Colin Kaepernick thing, right? Remember when he was with the 49ers and he had the Miami Dolphins?
I was out there for that. It was the Dolphins hat. I was out there for that.
And it was really because it matched his outfit.
His teal, his teal tank top.
He was going with the theme. Dolphins had a hat, or he just got a Dolphins hat. It matched what he was wearing.
You can't do that as a quarterback. You can't do that as a pro.
And it was a big deal.
It was. I was out there for that.
It was a huge deal at the time. And I remember thinking, come on, Cap, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's a bad look.
But then the more I thought about it, I was like, does it really matter?
Yes, it does. To fans, it does.
If I throw on a Buccaneers cap because my brother's a Buck, does it matter? You know what I mean?
Are you active or not active? Because that's an important part of the equation here.
If I was active,
I think that you would have been ripped in New York at that point on local radio. Yes, you would have been.
If I went down,
Princess would have crushed you. Dog would have crushed you.
Brother
doesn't. Well,
by the way, good luck, Rondé. The voting for the Hall of Fame is today, so hopefully my brother gets in today. We'll find out some point today. So
come on, Rondé.
Hall of Fame voting is this afternoon. Good luck, Rondé Barber.
I would have ripped you on the other station.
I mean, maybe, but I would feel justified because it's my brother.
Now, if you wore it at the game, they were saying it's first of all, anything with blood is different.
For instance,
okay, it's different.
So you remember we lost the year they won the Super Bowl, the Buccaneers. We lost in the wild card game to the 49ers in one of the most ridiculous games ever, both because how we played in the second half and the fact that the refs screwed us at the end. But notwithstanding, the next week I went to the Bucs game.
That's when he picked off McNabb, right? In Philly.
No. I went. That was the following week. He did pick off Jeff Garcia in Tampa, but I was on the sideline in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a hat on.
Yeah, of course you did, because you know better.
I didn't have a Bucs hat on.
Because you know better. You're smart. You're sensible. You're savvy. You're aware. You're not dying to trend.
But I was there on the sideline.
Okay, that's different.
And it was cool.
I didn't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. By the way, Hoff, what is this? Pete Hoffman, everybody, our producer.
What's up, Pete?
What's up, everybody?
Hoff Dove is in the house. Hoff, what is this big reveal about that you brought up on social media today about the show?
Well, what
are you dropping on us?
There was something you brought up yesterday. Something about sports-related, team-related stuff, and I had some interesting information for you.
Okay, we'll save that for a little later. Is that what we're getting at?
Yeah, don't do it right now. Yeah,
trust me, I don't think it's that good to interrupt what we've done.
Build the suspense, my friend.
All right. Listen, Nick Mangold today. We'll talk to Big Nick about what the Jets need to do this offseason. And you heard me at the start of the show. I don't know if you will agree with this in terms of the listeners, the big baseball fans, great baseball fans in the city. It's time to check this ridiculous PED bias at the door. I mean, where we are, the voting, where they're trending right now, where they're tracking with about 43% of the votes in the Hall of Fame. A-Rod, I give you A-Rod's a little different than Clemens and Bonds just because, it's resumed baseball and, the Yankees withheld $6 million bonuses when the benchmarks when he eclipsed a certain whatever. But, are we really going to have a conversation where people really still subscribe to the notion, Tiki?
Yeah.
Keep him out of the Hall of Fame. Yeah. He cheated. Everybody cheated.
Some people still feel that. I don't. I gave up a while ago.
I'll tell you right now, if there was a pill to take to be the best radio host in the world, I would have been eating them like Tic Tacs for the last 30 years. I would have digested them from the time I was 22, and I wouldn't have had to go to Allentown and everywhere I went to get here. Trust me, I would have taken them. So Michael's in Verona. Hopefully he's got an issue with Kadarius Toney, the big Rams fan, and Michael's on the fan. What up, Mike?
What's up, gentlemen? Happy Tuesday. How we doing?
We're good, man.
Nice.
What do you got for us, Michael?
I'll tell you what with Tony. So, BT, you say you don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. The thing is, he's had so many molehills in 1 year, it is a mountain now. Every time you turn around, he's either injured, he posts a cryptic Instagram story, he posts his new album coming out. Nobody cares. The thing is with Odell, he was smashing records his rookie year, so you kind of brushed everything aside. He was the most electric player to watch in football, honestly.
That's right.
Tony's had one good game. He missed, 7 or 9 games? This kid is so many red flags already. He had, 2 arrests, one with a gun in Florida, the injury history. I can guarantee you right now he won't be here in a year. There's no way a new GM and new coach is going to want to deal with him.
It's interesting.
He's not worth the trouble because he's going to be a headache. He already is. And maybe I'm old school. I'm 24, but I consider myself an old soul. I don't like that crap. You don't wear another team's gear after an embarrassing season.
Yep.
What does that say to your fans?
It's basically a big middle finger to the team that cut your check.
It is. That really gets me. It gets to me. And I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. I know Tiki said you might wear a Buccaneers hat. If you're an active player, I can tell you what, I think fans don't like it. If you're supposed to be not the face of the franchise, he's obviously not, but a first-round rookie who was hyped up, you better be. I don't like that. And BT, real quick before I go, if you're going to be at the Seton Hall Johnny's game, come to Section 110. I'll buy you a beer.
I'm going to be there, but I'm going to be working, so maybe I'm going to have to slip that beer past Minko. I can't listen. This is a big week coming up for St. John. Big week. Creighton, you got to Seton Hall a couple times. St. John's needs to start winning some games, big games. But anyway.
They just beat up Georgetown.
Georgetown's the worst team in the conference. They're terrible.
Doesn't matter. You still won the game you're supposed to win.
But they haven't had St. John's has not had a good win yet this year. This is a big stretch. And I'm rooting for them, but they got to start winning some big games. Teak, I don't know if you're a teammate of Kadarius Toney, and I know that you're probably looking at it from the mindset of somebody who's in their 40s from a different generation, but some of the players on that team, what do you think they're thinking? What do you think Daniel Jones is thinking? What do you think Saquon's thinking?
I think Daniel Jones and Saquon, they're more worried about themselves right now.
I know, but it doesn't mean they can't have a thought.
Because of the circumstances. Look, let me tell you, it is, I don't want to say terrifying because that's the wrong word to use, but it's disconcerting when you get a new coach. And now this for Saquon and Daniel Jones, this will be their second coaches, right? And actually their third coaches this year. And so you can't help but think about, man, what's going to happen if this guy doesn't like me? And so you hear the Kadarius Toney news, but how much of your mind is worried about Kadarius Toney as opposed to worried about yourself? And so, again, I think this has been one of the bigger issues with this Giants team is having that Michael Strahan type leader. You know what I mean? That guy who just comes in and can tell anybody anything about themselves and get them right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
The Giants don't have that right now. And so I think Kadarius Toney, from a locker room standpoint, is going to get a pass on this. And that's probably part of the problem.
That's a very, very interesting and I think on point encapsulation of one of the many problems with the Giants. There's nobody to check anybody in that locker room. The more I think about this, and I know I prefaced all my comments with I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but I might want to make a mountain out of this. The more I think about this, I don't know, if Aaron Judge was wearing a Rockies hat, I'm thinking of innocuous connections. Obviously Red Sox different, and of course Mets, we go nuts. But say a Rockies hat or a Cardinals hat, or if DeGrom was wearing an Orioles cap, or Shesterkin was wearing a St. Louis Blues shirt. I mean, we'd be like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. What about the Troy Tulowitzki coming to a Yankee game? When was that, Hoff?
That was a couple of years ago.
2 years ago?
No, it was 2014. He
was 14.
He was still playing on the Rockies at the time.
And he wound up being a Yankee for a minute, and of course he was banged up after Toronto. Boy, I'll tell you, he could have been. For a couple of years, he was great. Yeah. He would have been awesome in New York, but we got him when he was done. All right, 877-337-6666. I told you, if Elijah Moore is rocking the Browns gear today, I'm not happy. Again, I'm not saying cut the guy, but where is the professional decorum? And I understand there's a gap. We're in our 40s. These guys are in their 20s. They're trying to get chicks and clicks and sell records and look good. I get it. We were young once. I wouldn't do that, no matter how young or what era it's in. I don't think you do that. I'm old school principle with that, and so are you. I don't know. I don't like it. 877-337-6666.